Life is full of work and stress. Parenting can be a mess. Being a woman is hard enough without adding on that extra stuff. We'll cover topics of every kind. Helpful resources we will find. We'll even drink a bottle of wine. Join us. It will be a real good time. Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nikki.
And welcome to Working Mom's Wine, where we drink a bottle of wine
and whine about our crazy, busy working mom lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then we try to find some resources that will help us and you along the way.
That's right. And we are doing another doubleheader, and we decided to stick with the same wine, so we still have the reputable Snoop presiding. So we're still drinking the rosé. It's just that good.
That's right. Cali Rosé from 19 Crimes.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies. I forgot we were doing 2, and I did not bring another pair of ears, so you're just going to miss out. So sorry.
Terrible. Fired.
I have so many ears. I should take a picture of my ear wall at home and put it on the social media accounts.
You know what? We could put that on Instagram.
We could.
We can actually post something. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
This week, we are going to whine and talk about transportation, whether it is getting yourself to the parks from where you live, within the parks, from your hotel to the parks, all of that. We're going to cover it because we all know we could whine quite a bit about flying with children or the cost of transportation or, I don't know, Boeing not doing quality assurance on their planes and then you being afraid to fly. I watched John Oliver do a recap of all the Boeing issues on YouTube yesterday. Yep, it was not great. It was even worse because, like, you know, you see the issues happen here and there and you're like, oh, that stinks for that plane. But then when he's digging into it, it's like, actually, this whole line of planes has huge issues, and there's employees saying that they would never fly on these planes. And
the industry as a whole is really suffering right now.
Did you know that on Kayak you can go and search your flights according to the type of plane it is, and you can exclude certain plane types from your flight?
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yes. So if you don't want to end up on one of the Boeing death jets, you have options. Don't sue me. They said that that feature has become so popular that they've moved it up where it is on the site.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So,
not gonna lie, I'm planning to drive this time, but it's really for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
I don't like the things going on with the airlines as far as the planes breaking down, but also all the time on these boards I'm on about Disney trips, I hear about families who get to the airport and their flight is canceled, and then they're in the airport for days trying to figure it out, and it just sounds like a lot of extra stress for something that's supposed to make it easier and is way more expensive.
Yes.
So Ari and I have always flown. I have the Southwest Miles credit card so I can earn points and get a free ticket or whatever. So the first time I had a free companion pass, and I think I used that on Ari, and then I used points to pay for Mom's ticket, so we all went together. And then there's a year that Ari and I went, just the two of us, and I wound up having enough points to pay for one ticket. So it's definitely been financially beneficial for me.
Yeah.
To fly so far. But my parents always drive, and they're going on this trip too, and we live very close to each other, so it'd just be us adding into the car and paying for half the gas.
That's why part of the reason why we've always drove is, especially with multiple children, it is much cheaper to just pay for the gas. And
you can bring a lot more stuff too.
You can bring stuff. You have your vehicle available if you need it during the week. And say you want to get a souvenir that you're not comfortable putting on an airplane or might be too large to put on an airplane, you've got your vehicle. Yeah. So there's a lot of advantages to it, even though it does take more time, but sometimes you just don't have that time and you have to fly.
Yeah.
It's just expensive.
And it's a long drive. Like for us, it's like 16 hours or something. So
yeah.
That's a long time to be in the car with a bunch of little kids.
Yes.
You can plan it out to make it enjoyable with stops and things like that. But, you know, it's all kind of about which ickiness you're willing to put up with.
Yep.
What's the lesser of two evils?
Right. The airports just have a lot going on. It's not just Boeing either. Yeah. Like you said, there's a lot of canceled flights lately. The FAA has had some issues with their systems that, you know, are super old and have not been properly maintained or upgraded over the years. And it's not even just with flying, like that weather
Mm-hmm.
satellite that they took down to repair, that they said everything's been there since like 1988 or something.
Yeah.
We are in 2024,
We've got to
people.
get upgraded.
Got to make sure that stuff's still working. So we're going to cover all the basics on travel. Obviously, there's pros and cons to driving and flying. Most of it involves how much time you have versus how much money you have. And if you are driving, sometimes you can save more money by packing a cooler full of food. We splurged last time and mostly did drive-thrus. We would pack like the breakfast stuff because for some weird reason, not every hotel has continental breakfast anymore. That's lame.
It's annoying.
I know. They either don't have it at all or you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do pack breakfast things just in case, and I will often pack sandwich makings just in case you're like between meals and some kid decides they're hungry.
Yeah.
Real easy to throw, or it's real fun to give them a few bucks, go to the dollar store and let them pick out some snacks. That's fun too. That's what I always liked about youth camp was when we would stop off for grabbing our snacks.
Yeah.
So you can do that to save money, or you can just hit up the gas station and the drive-thrus if you prefer to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like to, even though we could probably suffer and drive through the night and all of that, I do like to do either one day on each end, traveling down and traveling back to stop somewhere and spend the night. Or if you can, sometimes I'll do 2 stops on the way down and 1 on the way back, or 2 and 2. And that way you just have more time to get out and stretch your legs and enjoy the hotel a little bit instead of just sleeping in it.
Yeah, very true. All excellent points. Trying to figure out now like where we would stop, and maybe even like a car rental so that we have enough space and luggage room, because 4 of us isn't a lot needed seat wise, but it's a lot luggage wise.
Yeah.
And we've got smaller cars, so
I missed
mine
my
has
minivan.
room, but it would yeah. Mine has a lot of trunk space, but it's old. So like, do I trust it to drive all the way to Florida and back without breaking down? Probably not.
That is also a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, it's a fun option for traveling, making a road trip, making stops along the way. But it does, of course, stretch out your trip too. So you got to have enough PTO days and stuff like that. So, of course, if you're driving, you have to park.
Yes.
If you're staying on a Disney resort, it's free parking. You don't pay additional parking. You probably cover it in some other fee that you pay for the resort, but
I think there's a parking fee that gets wrapped into it.
Yeah. But you don't have to pay like an additional thing to park your car in the resort overnight.
Right.
If you're not staying on a Disney resort, you have to pay to park in either a resort parking lot or the ticket and transportation center, where you get on the various transports to the different parks. And then there are parking fees if you need to park at the theme park, at the ticket and transportation center. Standard parking for a car or motorcycle is $30 a day. Preferred parking is $45.50 or $55 per day. Surge pricing. And then oversized vehicles, shuttles, limos, campers, RVs, buses, $35 a day.
For registered guests of Disney Resort hotels and select annual pass holders, these guests can also choose to enjoy preferred parking by paying the difference in cost between the included standard parking and the preferred parking, which can be between $15 and $25 a day.
So if you're at the hotel and you drive over to the ticket and transportation center and you want to park there, you can park there for free, or you can pay the gap between that and preferred parking and get the preferred parking spot.
And if you do the campsites, because their Fort Wilderness has campsites, you get space for 1 motorized vehicle.
Yeah. That's the basics of the parking. And they do have trams. Certain parks have trams in the parking lot where you can get on and ride to the front, But since COVID, it has been, I think, a little hit or miss as to which parks have trams and which ones don't, and when they operate and when they don't. So don't count on it. But hopefully it will be there to ease your walk into the park.
Right. And also, if you are flying in, getting from the airport to your hotel, there's a few options there.
Yeah.
On that note, I do really enjoy the Orlando airport. It's a nice airport. Yeah, as much as the actual flying part these days makes me a little nervous, it's very nice. It's got some really cool areas, and I like the little tram that you get in to go from like building to building.
It's like a monorail before the monorail.
Fun. Yes, exactly. So if you're going to Orlando and you don't go to Disney, make sure to ride the airport monorail. It's so much fun, though.
Yeah, and they've got a cool Disney store in the main area after you go through security. And I think that there's a new terminal that's like fancy now and like all upgraded and stuff, and that they have a Harry Potter store or area in there. I think I remember Kyle Pallo doing a video on that. And there's lots of cool opportunities for different transportation options from the airport to your resort or hotel. Back in the day, they had this really cool thing called the Magical Express. Oh, RIP. And it was this beautiful system where you put special tags on your luggage, and when you landed, you just went right down to the bus, and you got on the bus, and your luggage magically appeared at your hotel, and you didn't have to like roll it through the hotel or anything. Like,
talk about pixie dust.
Yeah, it was just there. It was beautiful. Although it did sometimes take quite a while to show up, so there was that too.
Yeah.
But of course, during COVID, they got rid of it, and then when they came back, it wasn't Disney's Magic Express. It's just Mears Transport now. And it's the same buses in the same location, but they don't do the luggage for you anymore. So now, especially if you fly into MCO on Southwest, it is a pain in the butt because you have to go upstairs and over to get your luggage and then come back and go down and then go back over to get to the buses. And it's confusing. I've done it 3 times, and every time I got lost. Every single time. I rode the wrong elevator and got off at the wrong place and was like, oh my God. And I was hot and sweaty by the time I got in line for the bus. So maybe it's my poor sense of direction, but it wasn't fun.
Oh my gosh.
But they do you can sign up for the Mears buses. There are other options though. There's another company called Sunflyer. You can always use Uber or Lyft. But we've talked a lot about that group, Ear for Each Other, with the previous cast members who have their own businesses now that are kind of around Disney. And there is a transportation company I became aware of recently. I'm sure there's multiple ones, but this one's called Orlando Magical Rides. And there were so many positive reviews about it. It's the same people every time. So if you use them, you know who's picking you up and dropping you off. They're great with kids. They help, they're just good at what they do, and they're very friendly. Sometimes people get creeped out by the Uber Lyft thing and all the things that have happened with that around the world. So around America. So this is an option if you want to really like know who's picking you up and that kind of thing. And of course, different things cost different amounts, and they will change greatly depending on what time of year you're traveling. So check out all the different options when it's time, see what works best for you.
Right.
But I've always done the Mears bus, that used to be the Magic Express, and it's been pretty simple. You go down to the buses area. It's the same area where you rent car rentals from in the airport, and it's just on the other side. You turn right instead of turning left when you get to the bottom of the escalator. And they have cast members standing there at little kiosks, and they scan your Magic Band or your phone app, and they tell you which line to stand in for your resort. And they help you load your luggage into the bottom of the bus, and you get on the bus. And sometimes you make more than one stop because they'll stop at different resorts along the way. But they usually have a little cartoon playing on the TV in there, and it's just a nice little air-conditioned bus ride. So there was one time Mom wanted to murder me. We were waiting to
I remember that. I already know what you're going to talk about.
We were waiting to get in the transport to go back to the airport to go home. And I had the confirmation printed out with us the whole time. And we had to kill a couple of hours in the cafeteria, basically in the store, waiting for our bus to show up. I will never understand what happened. But for some reason, the paper said one thing, and I had it in my hand, and I checked it all the time. But I was saying another time in my brain. And we missed the bus, the Mears bus. And they tell you all the time that there's not much they can do if you miss it. So we wheeled out there. We're waiting with our suitcases. We had killed so much time, and we could have already been at the airport. So we're standing around. We can't figure out what's going on. I'm like looking around. Finally realize what I've done. We see a van for the Mears Transport Company who's waiting, I guess, to transport somebody else. We're not sure. So I go up and I knock on the driver's window and I talk to them, and they were so kind and so gracious. He called all over the place, figured out that we had missed our bus, and got permission to load us in his van and take us right to the airport, and we still did not miss our flight.
Yay!
So, all that to say, if you find something like that has happened, do not be afraid to go up and knock on the window and talk to somebody, because I hesitated for quite a while. I did not want to go bother that man with my mistake. But what else are you going to do? Like, you'd have to call a Lyft and hope you make it, And I had a kid that needed a car seat, which complicates it. So
that was going to be my point about Uber and Lyft, is the car seat dilemma.
Yeah. I know you can request ones with car seats, but I don't know how readily available they are.
Yeah. I imagine not.
Mm-hmm. But that was my whine about it. Like, that was very stressful, and I felt so stupid. So stupid. I was watching the time like a hawk so we wouldn't miss it, and my brain got it messed up. So do not leave it down to one person. Make sure 2 people know what's going on.
If someone else had looked at that paper, perhaps it would have come to light sooner.
Sorry, Mom. But it all worked out, so we're grateful.
Yeah. You made it back to Missouri.
Yes. The nice thing about it is they really do give you plenty of time to get to the airport, to get through security, and to still have time that you kill before getting on the plane.
Yeah.
So even in all of that sit around time, like I think I was an hour off in my head, and then we had all the time trying to figure out what do we do now, and we still didn't miss the flight. So that's good. Shout out to one of my favorite social medias, Magic Bands and Trash Cans. Look them up.
So, magic bands.
So there's a few variances. Of course,
This is a sad topic for me.
Oh, they've gone through transformations. You know, they had version 1, version 2, whatever version we're on now. All of your old ones should theoretically work.
Yeah.
However, they have new ones now called Magic Band Plus.
And you have to pay for them.
Things. Yes, you have to pay for them. So back in the day, you could get a plain Magic Band for free with your resort reservations, and you could pick the color and put the kid's name on the back of it and everything.
And they would show up in a little box, and it was like, look, here's your vacation.
Your vacation's coming. Get excited.
Would you like to know what happened to my magic bands last time?
Oh, no.
They went to my old address.
No.
Yeah, I think it was the one where we were going to go for COVID. Mm-hmm. And we all were like, okay, we have to push it off. And then after that decision, I got a Facebook message from someone I didn't know. And they were like, we think we might have something that's yours. And it was the people from our old address, and they had figured out who we were, and it was the box of magic bands. Oh. I have also accidentally sent them pizza before. So always make sure that your addresses are updated.
Yeah, when we moved, I ordered car seats on Target's website, and they got delivered to our house after we had moved. And I sent my ex-husband to go get them because I was like, I'm not going to show up and take stuff off their porch. But you can.
They were very nice about it, though. They were like, do you want to come get them? And I'm like, I really appreciate that, but we actually, it's COVID, and we ended up having to cancel and just get rid of them, I guess. I didn't think...
You could still use them now.
See, that's the thing. It didn't occur to me that, like, they could still be useful in the future, and so I didn't.
And you can even use them as decorations. They sell little displays.
That's true.
You can, like, hook them on and stuff, but...
If only I had consulted you first.
Right. The answer to every problem.
Right? If only I had learned all these years.
No one listens to the middle child. So ignored.
But yes, you can still buy magic bands.
Yes. So now if you want the plain ones, they're cheaper.
Yeah.
But you can upgrade to like different designs, and they rotate them out all the time. So if you see one you like, get it right then. Don't wait, because next time you go to look, it won't be an option. So
yeah,
that is something to know too. But they'll send you a little notice that says, "Oh, your reservations are confirmed. Would you like to purchase and pick up magic bands?" You can also buy them in the park.
Yes.
There's a store at each park that sells them. And the Magic Bands Plus is pretty cool. I don't have one of those yet, but they light up at certain times and vibrate to the fireworks shows, and certain ones will play different noises when you scan into stuff. And you can get them, different characters, different themes. Some are limited edition ones, so they're like super expensive. They're all not cheap. It's like $30 to $65, depending on which one you get. So we bought... Before Magic Band Plus existed, we had a few plain colored ones already. But then I bought Aria like a princessy one and a Minnie Mouse one, and I have a Small World Ride one and some other one. And you can continue to use those even now, even though they're not Magic Band Plus. They'll still work. So I just save them, and we repeat wear them because we like them still, and what's the point of spending more money?
And they do give you cards that you can use to scan into things and
Yeah, you don't
into the
have to have a
parks.
Magic Band. It's just convenience.
Yeah, but I will say the kids get really into the whole scanning thing. And some of them might get upset when they get randomly assigned one card and you get randomly assigned a card with a character that they like better.
Yeah, so they'll give you these little credit cards that are like your ticket, basically, and you
We
have to
had a
scan
big
them to
issue.
get into rides. And they randomly give you ones that have different characters on them. You don't get to pick. So it's like some kids get mad about that.
I would say if you can't afford Magic Bands for everybody, maybe see if you can afford them for the kids, and then the kids get to have the fun experience, and then there's no fighting over who got what character.
Yeah.
Because you're usually buying those Magic Bands yourself, and you can pick out what you want.
Yes. And if you're an adult with an Apple Watch, you can use that as your Magic Band. You can load your ticket onto your Apple Wallet and use your watch to scan in.
You can do that with your phone for Android for sure.
Yeah, you can do it with your phones too. Your ticket is linked to your My Disney
I don't know if
Experience
there's
app,
an
and
Android
you can pull
Watch
up the
version.
app and do that. So lots of different ways. I feel like the Magic Bands are convenient because you're not having to put it in and out of your purse or your pocket or whatever. It's lower risk of losing it. Yeah. But I do get these little flex band. I think they're called Fit Bands or Fit Flex or something like that. And I just found them on Amazon or on Etsy. And it's this little rubber band that's like the one that you would slide on your watch that holds the strap to each other. And it was a lifesaver because those Magic Bands will pop off sometimes. They just kind of like snap into two little holes, you know? Mm-hmm. So if you buy this little extra rubber piece, it can like slide over. And that way, if the little peg pops out of the little hole, it still holds it together. And so it doesn't fly off your kid's hand.
Pro tip right there.
Now, I haven't ever worn the Magic Band Pluses. I don't know if they have that same problem or not, but
yeah. And keep in mind too, since it does do things like light up and vibrate, you know your kid's sensitivity. So before you make that investment, make sure that's not something that's going to throw your child off.
Right. Sensory issues, beware.
Right. The app. I love the app. That was like the best tool the last time we went because of the mobile orders you can make and go pick up, because you can use it to just literally put it in front of your door and open your door in the hotel room, which is great if you've got a bunch of bags on your hands. And you can do your rebooking there too.
You can book things there, experiences, dining reservations. You can cancel stuff in there. You can see the wait times for all the rides. You can get walking directions from one place to another.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's always really handy.
You can stalk Disney while you're at Disney. It's great.
I can stalk Disney from home when I'm not even anywhere near it.
That's also true.
And say, man, Pirates is only a 5-minute wait. I wish I was there.
I wish I lived in Florida and could just decide to hop into the car. Yep.
But I will say one thing I don't appreciate about the whole Genie Plus Lightning Lane stuff is everything is through the app on your phone. And I found myself on my phone a lot.
It can take away from it.
Booking things, rebooking things, trying to stand in line after you've scanned and figure out what Lightning Lane is next and grab it. Mm-hmm. It was a lot. And I had to bring 2 extra phone battery charger things to get through the day. So beware.
That is a good point that we should talk about a little bit now, just in case we forget to bring it up again later. Absolutely invest in portable chargers, and don't just bring one.
Yeah.
Bring more than one.
Multiple ones.
And you might read things online that say, oh, you can charge here and charge there. Sure, you can, but so are 5 million other people.
Right.
So I brought 2 portable phone banks last time, and I believe that I used them both for myself. I think it was just one of those things where when Brandon's phone was dead, it was dead because he wasn't using it as much, and it wasn't important because we were all together.
Yeah.
And then I used mine to keep mine going because I was taking all the pictures.
Right.
So
yep. I brought 2 in as well. I bought one more expensive one on Amazon that holds more charge, and I think I charged both mine and Mom's phone most of the time with it. I think she had one too, and we kind of went back and forth between plugging both of our phones into one at the same time. You got to make sure too that you charge them every night. You get to your hotel, plug it right in, because my bigger one wouldn't even fully charge overnight sometimes. So keep them charged, keep them plugged in, bring them with you.
Yep.
Let security know that you have them before you go through, because it will set off the machine, and they'll tell you what to do with it. Sometimes they have you hold it in front of you. Sometimes I put it in the little basket.
Yeah.
Whatever they tell you to do with it.
Yep.
But you just say, I have phone bricks.
Yep. I feel like there was something else too where you could announce it ahead of time that you had it and they would have you hold it out in front of you.
Yeah.
There's something Brandon had that he did that with.
They had us do that with sunglasses cases because there's something in Mom's sunglasses case that kept
Maybe
going
that's
off.
what I'm thinking of.
And then the bricks.
So, PhotoPass.
PhotoPass is great, in my opinion. As the mom who is always taking the pictures, it is a very easy way to make sure that you are in the pictures with your children.
That's a fair point because there are a lot of pictures that I took and not a lot of pictures that I'm in.
Yeah. But it's not the cheapest, and they don't put it on sale a lot either. It used to be included if you stayed on a resort, that you just got PhotoPass, and that's not a thing anymore, which sucks.
And you're very limited once you come back from the parks in the amount of time you have to decide what you want to buy with it.
Yeah. So if you buy it before you go to the parks, it's loaded on your Magic Band. Every time a PhotoPass person takes your picture, they just scan your band. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a band, they give you a little card with like a barcode on it that mm-hmm. you can put into the My Disney Experience app to connect your photos to your account.
Yeah.
But basically, they take the photos. You get lots of extra cool things, like their cameras can take what they call extra magic shots, where you hold out your hand and Tinkerbell's on it or something mm-hmm. like that. And they have like moving postcards that they'll create out of your ride pictures and stuff like that. So you get home and they say, okay, your Disney photos have all been loaded up. Go download them, purchase what you want, whatever. And I usually just download all the pictures right to my computer, and then you can use whatever app, Walgreens, Shutterfly, whatever you use to print stuff off.
Make sure you have a 1 terabyte hard drive because you're going to need it.
That's right. But it's really cool because then you get your ride pictures, pictures that they take on, in the middle of the rides, any character pictures that the PhotoPass people took. Mm-hmm. They will still, if you ask them, they'll take your cell phone and take a picture of you with the characters and stuff. So don't be afraid to ask if there's a real live person there. They'll do it.
Yeah.
And they don't get cranky about it or make a big deal about it. They're used to it.
I had situations where I was standing back with my phone to take pictures.
Yeah.
And then they would offer to take it from me and then mm-hmm. let me get in the picture. So that was very nice.
Let us do that for you.
Yep.
Very magical. There are those characters, though, that are a photo box and not a person. So
true.
There's still a character handler person there. And sometimes they'll be able to take the pictures, but sometimes they're moving the line. They're doing other things.
Instead of a photo box, they need little Wallies, and then the Wally could still take your picture for you.
That would be fun. Ideas, Disney.
I want the royalties from that one.
Give us the credit.
Hashtag copyrighted.
But it is an extra expense, one that you don't have to do. So if you're looking for ways to penny pinch so that you can just go.
Right.
PhotoPass is something you can cut.
Yes. And if someone else in your party has PhotoPass, there's going to be times where you could all get into a picture together and you could still benefit from that. And then maybe just throw them a few bucks for whatever pictures you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Things like that. So
I can't remember. I want to say there was a way to link. So like when our sister and her husband were taking pictures, they could give me the code and I could link it to my PhotoPass. And then
it might have been through the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the barcodes on them.
Yeah, so if you take your picture and they give you the card with the barcode, give that to your person with PhotoPass and let them put in the code, and then they can use it as part of their package.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think we did that too.
Yeah.
So one of the most well-known forms of transportation is the monorail.
What?
Which, is that just to Magic
Please stand
Kingdom?
clear of the door. Por favor, manténgase alejados de las puertas.
Do you have the mat?
I don't know if I said that right, but...
It sounded right.
I do. I have a doormat that has the monorail on it, and it says the little phrase that I just said. The please stand clear of the doors thing.
And then again in Spanish. But they say it in multiple languages, which is awesome. Yeah. Do you know which parks it goes to?
Yeah, so the monorail goes to Magic Kingdom and Epcot.
Okay.
And it stops at a couple resorts, the Polynesian, the Contemporary, and the Grand Floridian. And then also goes between Magic Kingdom and Epcot and to the Transportation and Ticket Center. So if you're not on a resort and you're just going to the parks, you drive to the Transportation and Ticket Center and park there. And then you can take ferry boat or monorail over to Magic Kingdom and Epcot.
I recommend doing both of them at least once because the ferry boat is so fun.
The ferry boat is fun. It's very picturesque, and you get to like sail in the lake towards the castle, and it's just very excitement building, and I cry every time.
Same. I'm always like trying to like not look at Brandon and the kids so that they can't tell that I'm trying, and then you're doing like this little thing. Yeah.
It's fun. But the monorail is also an experience. Sometimes I guess which one to go on just like based on the weight line, you know?
That's
the
fair.
ferry boat can be deceiving too. It can hold a lot of people. And now they have a double deck loading system that's new since we've last been.
I was going to say
so you can load right into the top instead of everyone going in the bottom and having to go up the stairs to get to the
That's
top
handy.
level. Yeah.
Also, I guarantee you that one gets backed up faster.
Yeah.
So if you don't care if you're on the top or the bottom, that was about the ferry, not about anything else. Then you can just go for the shorter line. So that's what she said.
The monorail is fun.
Yeah.
When you're exiting Magic Kingdom, you also have the option like which way do you want to go, or the buses, and there's lots of big signs, so it's not hard to tell, you know, which one's going where.
And don't underestimate the buses, because especially if you have a toddler, buses are very exciting. I think so. When we went to Universal, we rode buses from the resort to Universal, and I'm pretty sure that was the only thing Jack really cared about, because he knew all the colors of the buses.
Of course.
And anytime that we talk about the vacation, all he talks about are the buses. Yeah. So buses are fun too.
If you're staying at a resort and you want to go to the Animal Kingdom, buses are the only way.
True.
Hollywood Studio is buses or the Skyliner. Epcot is Skyliner, monorail. I think there's a boat that goes from the boardwalk to Epcot, if I remember right. And the Magic Kingdom is Skyliner. No, buses and monorail. They don't have the Skyliner or the Magic Kingdom.
We rode the Skyliner a lot last time.
We did too.
Yeah.
There's also a restaurant at Disney Springs that has next to it these old-fashioned looking cars that turn into boats. So you like drive into the water and then you get to boat around on that thing and come back. So that's a cool experience if you're into that stuff.
Yep. The Skyliner's not straightforward either.
Yeah. There's a place you have to get off and get onto a different one to get to the parks. So
yeah, if
you're at Pop Century or Art of Animation, the Riviera, Caribbean Beach Resort, there's another one that's not coming to my brain, but I know there's another one. Those are the resorts that have the Skyliner connection. And so if you're at Art of Animation or Pop Century, you get on the Skyliner and you ride it. You get off at the Caribbean Beach Resort, and then you get on one or the other depending on if you're going to Hollywood Studios or Epcot.
Yeah.
And then there's clear signs and cast members everywhere, so don't worry about it.
Because I was so freaked out the first time we did that. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna mess this up. And we were trying to do early hours,
like clear lines, and they'll say, you know, oh, everyone go in here, go over there, and they'll ask you when you get in line, are you going here? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's very, very well coordinated.
Yes. Chick-fil-A could never.
And even when it's busy, it moves pretty quick. Yeah. So I've never like gotten stuck in a really long Skyliner line unless I was leaving Epcot past closing time.
Yes.
Then I stood in kind of a long line, but it still moved pretty quick. So.
Yeah. If everyone's leaving the park at one time, it's going to get a little backed up.
Yeah. Yeah. What I like to do is when you're leaving Epcot, the Skyliner is back in the UK, basically, and you kind of exit the back of the resort to get to it as opposed to the front of the park with the spaceship Earth and everything. There's a little store right off to the side. And I come over the bridge and I go, and Ari and I shop in the little store, and she's usually half awake for it. That's where I got my Olaf Spirit jersey. And
nice.
We just shop in there until it's not like super crazy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you can also still poke around. A lot of the stores will stay open until people are more cleared out. So you can do a little shopping while you wait for that line to die down a little bit.
And who doesn't like shopping?
That's right. And it's even better when your kid's asleep in the stroller and they can't grab everything and walk.
Oh, man, that's such a good point.
She was awake long enough to ask for like this ink pen, and then she was out.
I love it.
It was great. And then we got in line and got on the Skyliner, and it was quick. People are very kind about sharing with me when I had the stroller. Nobody gave me evil looks or anything, because it does take up like the middle where everybody put their feet, you know. People have to kind of like work around you.
Yeah.
But most people were like, oh, she's so cute, she's so sweet. Oh
every baby's fun. Defense mechanism. That's as long as you're cute, nobody cares.
They said, oh, she must have tuckered out. Yep, I wore her down. But it's a lot of fun, and you can roll your stroller on and off pretty easy. It does continuously move. They only stop it if there's an issue, or they'll stop it to let. They have the handicap accessible ones that kind of like they pull off to the side so people can totally stop that cart, roll their wheelchair on, that kind of thing. And sometimes they start and stop based on letting one of those cars into the queue. Yeah. There have been maybe like 2 or 3 times where it stopped for a long period of time and people were like stuck in the cars, and that would be awful. But they do have emergency kits in there and things, and it doesn't happen often, so don't let it scare you.
Yeah, it didn't happen to us once.
Nope, me neither. And I think I've taken 3 trips now where the Skyliner was running, and I've never had a problem. So.
And if you're, at Disney anyway, half those rides you have to get onto a moving walkway as it is, so it's good practice.
It is good practice. It was a little tricky sometimes with the stroller. I had to figure out what worked for me. I like to back onto it, so when it's time to get off, I can go straight forward. Some people like the other way, but I had plenty of time to like line myself up and get it done. So
I love it. What about park hopping transportation? Should we cover that?
Park hopping. I mean, it's kind of the same. You use the whatever systems are connected to your park, but buses connect to every place.
Yes, there's special places where you can go inside of the park to go to the bus that will take you to the different parks if you're doing. Never mind, we're cutting that.
That was actually a pilot program that we participated in when we went.
Was it really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It was a new thing where you could, if you were in the park and you had a park hopper ticket, you could go to a certain place in the park and they'd put you on a transportation bus to go to another park. And
I was part of a pilot program and had no idea. And it was cool too because you would end up backstage going between the different parks and you could see things you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They don't do it anymore.
I'm so sad.
At least not that I'm aware of. I know it quit during COVID. I'm pretty sure it did not come back.
That's the thing, too. I haven't double-checked anything that might not be non-existent after COVID. So
this is why it's helpful to have a travel agent because they're up to date.
Yep.
They're up to date. So you can say, I heard about this thing on this podcast. And she could be like, those girls are nuts. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. She'll call us out right away. I think it might be fun to wrap up with a story about Y2K.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you'll catch on where I'm going with this.
I was trying to say right now, I don't know what you're talking about.
So, for those of you who remember, there was this thing as 1999 was turning into 2000 where they were afraid that computers, because they ran off of a 2-digit year, would get very confused flipping over from 99 to double zeros. They hadn't thought to program a 4-digit year into it. They were afraid it was going to mess things up. And some of the more mild people who worked in the industry and maybe knew like the true ramifications and whatever was like banking could be an issue and these other things could be an issue. And we need to start putting programming into place to try and fix it before the year 2000 comes. And then you'd have other people that were like, planes are going to fall out of the sky and nukes are going to go off and the world is going to end.
The countries are going to take advantage of us during that time. And
exactly.
Gonna, start a war.
Exactly. So everyone's coming up on this time of uncertainty and people,
you know where you're going with this.
Okay. People are stockpiling bottled water and canned goods and like you do with when you're a good doomsday prepper. And we had some of that. We had half of our basement that was unfinished. And on that half, we would go to like Sam's, if you know what a Sam's is, or Costco. Yeah, we would buy in bulk canned goods and bottled water just in case, we're going to eat it if it doesn't happen. And just in case it does happen, now we have months worth of supplies in our basement in case, we're stuck in our house forever. So we're doing all of this preparing and everybody's so worried about the situation. And I didn't think about this until we were much older.
But where did we go?
Disney.
For New Year's Eve.
Disney. We went to Disney.
Where were we standing when the world would have fallen apart?
We were in the middle of an extremely crowded theme park watching a fireworks show as everyone rang in the new year. So yeah, what if things had gone to pot during that moment?
All of our supplies would have been in Missouri. We would have been in Florida.
Mm-hmm. And we
had family there, so
that's true. Fine, but... We did have family there that we were staying with. But also, like, just to think about the fact that you're in the middle of a theme park, if things literally went to chaos within moments, you're in that theme park when that happens, surrounded by crowds of people. And it's funny to think back on.
If every computer system shut down and the transportation shut down, and I mean,
could you imagine being in the middle of Disney and everything just goes dark? I mean, even the fireworks would stop shooting off because they're on.
Imagine the what's the word I'm looking for when things go down and everyone goes and robs all the stores. The looting.
Oh yeah, the looting.
Imagine the looting. Oh my god.
I won't lie, that's kind of tempting in Disney.
It was my immediate first thought when you said, "Imagine all the power goes out now. Imagine all the looting." Because I would want to be taking stuff.
Yeah, like, oh man, I've already paid hundreds of dollars to be here. Let's grab a sweater.
Right. That's where my brain went.
Yeah, that has always cracked me up in hindsight, though. Like, and I don't think any of us, and maybe our parents thought about it. Mm-hmm. Maybe they had that discussion and we just didn't because we were kids. But we saw all of the prep leading up to that moment. And not once did we, as kids in the theme park, think, hold on a minute.
We were just like, Disney.
Right. And of course, everything was fine, you know, but it's just, in hindsight, so funny to think about.
It is.
I don't know if any Disney memory is ever going to trump that one for me.
I don't know. I mean, it's a big memory, but I think the one that trumps it for me is when I took Ari and she was 9 months old, and we watched the Magic Kingdom fireworks for the first time. Oh. She had fallen asleep in the carrier on me, and I thought, she's gonna miss a show, but you don't wake a sleeping baby,
right?
Especially if they're sleeping through fireworks,
right?
So it was just kind of going, and I'm like, whatever, I'm just gonna enjoy it. And then I looked down, and she was awake and watching like this, and I got a good picture, like a little selfie.
That is pretty good.
Oh, that's a good one. I was like, I'm sharing the magic with my baby. And my mom was right next to me, so it was like, 3 generations.
That's great. I love that. We need a girls trip. So that's it for the travel week. We've got one more week since we've got 5 weeks in March. Yay!
Mickey Mouse March!
What a great month to have picked to cover Disney when we get an extra week in the month. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on YouTube. We are also up on Spotify if you prefer your podcasts over there. Oh, I was like, what are you doing? WorkingMomsWine.com, Patreon.com/WorkingMomsWine. We will put things on Instagram, I promise. We're on TikTok until TikTok gets shut down.
That's right.
If TikTok has been shut down by the time we upload this video, I will edit this part. They always threaten to do it, though, and then they never do. So
they never do, but this one has a lot more support behind it, including the president's already said that he likes it. So
not a good sign. No. Maybe they'll choose to sell, and it won't be an issue. Because if they sell, then nobody cares. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, though. Like,
it's fine. Well,
yeah. If I had a company that was doing that well, though, I think I might sell it just so that I wouldn't have to run the company anymore.
Yeah, if they can make enough money, maybe they would.
Yeah.
And it's not like we don't have other avenues with reels and things like that.
Right.
So if you want to spare TikTok, please call your representatives.
That's right. If you do call up your representatives, I heard a very good point today. Keep in mind that the people who are answering the phones and logging your complaints are not the actual representative. They are working class people.
Don't be mean.
Yeah, don't be mean. Just give them your complaint nicely, and they will transcribe it, and they will give it to the representative because that's what their job is. Yeah. So they don't need you being mean to them. That's like yelling at the cashier for decisions that the store is making. The cashier does not control that.
Right.
And on that note, we'll see you next week. Bye! This time I'm going to remember stuff.